say, from my experience, this is my third family reunion. And I will say that this was probably the most impactful experience, but we also had a lot of fun. So you guys will hear about some of those experiences that we had in California, but I also want to just really grab your guys' top takeaways, some of the experiences that you had that you've brought back into life, your business. And but before we start, maybe just share who you are, introduce yourself, and then if this was your first, second, third, fourth family reunion.
Okay, I'm Robin Warner, and this was my first family reunion.
My name is Viviana Ruiz, and this was my first family reunion.
Greg Christopherson, likewise, first family reunion.
My name is Eli Jonguist. This is my first family reunion as well.
Are you seeing a trend here?
Goodness, I didn't know I was the veteran of the group here. Not the veteran years of real estate, but it is my second family reunion.
Oh.
I know.
So the first thing I'd love to start with, one of the ultimate, I think, outcomes that happens in these big kind of environments or experiences is you have a lot of mindset shifts take place or some mental breakthroughs. So I'm curious about what mindset shifts took place for you and how you feel like that's going to impact business and life moving forward.
I can start. I think one of the biggest mindset shifts for me was Molly Fletcher. She told a story about when she was a teenager. She single-handedly orchestrated a business deal between 3 companies, and she had free housing, a free meal a week for 9 years. And she had to work 1 day a week playing tennis, teaching tennis. And as a teenager, that is, and as a young woman as well, that was incredible. And the biggest the mindset shift there was that opportunity is everywhere. We just have to have the creativity and passion to seize it. So
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go off of that. One of my mindset shifts was I do a lot of my real estate just off of my relationships, right? So in the past few years, when people want to implement, I just joined here in October. So Command and all the things they want you to implement, which are awesome. In the past years, I've been stuck with, I haven't had systems. So listening to Molly and talking about her, how we connect, serve, and work with people is what we need to focus on. How we connect, how we serve, how we work. And that's kind of how I feel like I've done my business, feeling guilty about the part that I don't have my systems in place. And one of my takeaways from this conference was that's okay. Embrace what I'm good at. And then now make it more purposeful and intentional with those things that I can be good in, and, you know, focus on those systems that I can, but don't downplay my strengths, I would say. And she talked a lot about connecting with people and serving, and how do you make someone feel when they walk away? What are they feeling like?
Love that. Before we move on, Greg, I'll pass to you just a sec. For those of you who were at family reunion, there's 2 principles when it comes to retaining the information that you hear. Is recency, so how soon you've heard that content, but then also repetition, how often you revisit those ideas and concepts. So I'd highly encourage you to highlight some of the things where like that was a big takeaway for me as well, because we're going to open it up to the group closer to the end of this. And then those who were not at family reunion, please take down some of these key ahas that you feel like you can implement in your business. Greg.
One of my main ahas was this first time I'd actually seen Gary Keller in living color. And, you know, I thought as he looked out over this group of 11,000 agents, what one man can accomplish, you know, and of course he comes across as so knowledgeable. And when he talks about his desire and his wife's desire is nothing more than to serve the agents. I mean, I really believe that based on everything that they put together. On the big talks, Ed Milet, guy kept anyway, you'd have to be there to know what that means. But anyway, when he told the story about his son's golfing career, you know, he starts off showing this awkward kid and they talk about a mindset change. In one day, he goes from being a so-so golfer to a phenomenal golfer just by his dad helping him change his attitude. And that story has really stuck with me with as far as mindset goes.
When he took him by the lapels and said that winning is fun more than fun is fun, right? That was a funny story. He's a great storyteller. One of my mindset shifts is don't make it a good year, make it a good career. How we behave in the shift dictates the rest of your business.
It's big.
Okay, I think this was like my biggest mindset. And I know it's different for everyone, but for me, just seeing all those Hispanics in there, it just meant a lot. And it just made me realize that not just because I have an accent, that doesn't mean I can be a millionaire real estate agent or a team leader.
That was a cool piece from Mark King. He said that we will be the most inclusive company on the planet, right? Which is awesome. So we had the chance to hear some from some phenomenal human beings throughout the entire week. And if you think back to some of the keynote speakers, Ed Mylett, Ryan Holiday, Molly Fletcher, obviously Gary Keller, Jay Papasan, Mark King, all these massively inspiring individuals. What were some of the key takeaways that you took away from those individuals specifically, if any?
Okay, I'll start. So with Ed Mylett, he said you don't get your goals, you meet standards of the type of person that you want to become. And this goes along with there's not an issue with your vision, there's an issue with your depth perception. And so you consistently think like, oh, I have this vision of becoming this person at this time, but really like you can do that right now. You can set the standards of that type of person right now.
Can you speak more to that, Jake? What is that depth perception concept actually?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's specific lead measures and lag measures. Too often we look at the lag measure instead of the lead measures that we're doing every single day, those standards. So whether it is the type of person that has a specific morning routine that talks to a certain amount of people, that eats a certain type of food or does a certain type of health habit, those are all things that are standards that can eventually help you become the person that you want to be. But the depth perception is right now. You can do those things right now to become the person that you want to be.
I'd love to go off that. One thing that Ed Mylett said, he said, if you wait 20 years to do something, when that day comes, you'll still be 20 years away. And with that, and Gary Keller saying that real estate is a job that requires work, as he put it. I think I found myself a lot falling into that position of, oh man, I'm a new agent. Oh, I'll wait 2 years, or I need to wait a year before I really, have success, or I need to wait 3 months before I really, close a deal or whatever the situation. I think my big takeaway from all the keynote speakers was do it now. There's no reason to wait. There's no reason to put yourself in that limitation. And I think that's really what I took away from Ed, Molly, and Ryan and Gary. So,
Well, you just stole mine, Eli. I felt the same about the biggest takeaway I had from Gary after he talked about all the tech stack and all the stuff that they're doing and everything else. And then he looked at us and said, but just remember, this is a job that requires work. So no matter what the tools we have or the systems or anything else, if you don't do them, doesn't mean anything. And, that saying that we've repeated here, imperfect action is always better than perfect inaction. I heard that a dozen times at the conference.
Yeah. There's a question that would be interesting to ask yourself when Gary talks about this idea that this is a job, right? And in a normal 9 to 5, if somebody doesn't show up for work 3 days in a row, what happens?
Get FIRED.
Right? The question to ask yourself is, would I hire myself with the work ethic that I have, with how consistently I show up? And ask yourself, is the answer yes or no on that? Interesting.
My biggest takeaway was, with Gary is he said, don't wish the bad away. If you wish the bad away, you wish the good away too. And so is Ed Mylett, the most insidious form of child neglected in the world is child raised by parents who do not pursue their potential and dreams.
Okay, and
That was
then
a big one.
that is a big one. Okay, mine, Ed Milet, I liked how he said happy cells. I love that. Along with all of that, but happy cells. And I just think when we're going out and we're meeting our clients and we're talking about the market and we're meeting them at the house, happy cells, have your attitude, ready so that their attitude can match yours. I would say, I don't know. I love when we're texting and we go to make an appointment and I'll end with, this is going to be fun in my text. This is going to be fun. See you then. I just think putting it out there, teaching them that when they walk into a house, it's what makes you happy when you're in it. Is this what's going to sell you on this house? But happy sells is what Ed talked about. Molly, I loved that she said, believe in the ability to evolve, step in and lean, be present and relational, and be present in relationships at home. So I find myself at home working, but then to pull myself away from that computer because it's too hard to sit at that island, the island in the kitchen and stay there and stay there and stay there. I liked that she brought family into it and to be intentional in our family relationships just as we are in work. And I think that there has to be that balance because right now it's too hard to do our jobs all the time without really thinking we're doing our jobs, even if it's just sitting there looking at houses. So I liked that she took it to family also. So be intentional in our relationships in all areas. And then the third one, Gary, I just like that he is teaching us the current market so that we can be educated when we're talking with our clients. Not all of us have been in the housing market for 35 years or 40 years or 20 years. But 6% was good. Remember, we all bought. I mean, a lot of us bought at 8%, at 10. My first was 10%. My second was 8%. My third was 6%. So there's only a 3-year period where there was a 3% in 35-year span. So I think that's important information to show our clients and to teach them that it's still a good market out there for them.
Yeah. I just wrote down one of those pieces that Happy sells. What is the number one product or that McDonald's sells?
Smiles.
Happy Meals, right? And Ed Milet used a couple different examples, right? Apple and different companies where they sell happiness. Interesting idea, right? And that second piece that you mentioned, Robin, I think is so important. There's this idea that leaders anticipate and losers what? React, right? And so the vision speech is probably one of my favorite parts of Family Reunion because what they do, I don't know how much Gary spends on his data analysts and his team to compile all this information, but they go through about 100 slides talking about the economy, what's coming up, some of our biggest threats ahead of the market. Is because he's helping us to anticipate what's coming. We started talking about a shift when? Last year. February, like right as soon as we got home from Family Reunion, right? So we were ahead of the game by about 6 to 7 months. So it gave you a lot of time to prepare. And so I want to get really clear about some of the takeaways you guys caught from Gary's vision speech this year. So what were some of the key insights that stood out to you?
My takeaway from the vision speech was pretty simple, but Gary just said that this year is going to be tough. He said it's going to be a hard year and it's time to put in the work to match the hard. And I thought that just resonated with me because it's easy to, blame it on the economy or blame it on the interest rates or blame it on whatever, but it's time to do the work and it's time to really put in that effort to match, the toughness that we're facing. So.
Okay, I'll go next. Mine was, he said that we should always think about the change as a strategic, not as a threat.
Strategic what?
As a strategic, not as a threat.
Not a threat. It's a strategy, not a threat.
Strategy.
I was impressed that Gary, he said, now this is my 5th cycle. And one of the other guys that were, kibitzing with him said, no, it's number 7, that his point is that we're always going to have these cycles. And this one is going to be a challenge, just like the others have been before. But people are still going to buy and sell houses. And so the question is, how much of that market are you going to get and how much are you going to have on the back end of this thing?
Yeah.
He gave to me, his vision was the 30,000 foot level vision.
Yeah, there were some doom and gloom themes as part of this, but he also had some silver lining, which was that this will be the potential for this year is the third greatest year for sales volume in history. I thought that was a pretty big takeaway. There's not a shortage of the shortage is not the leads, it's the effort. And I would even replace leads with opportunity. There's no shortage of opportunity. It's the effort. And for me, I feel like I struggle with some imposter syndrome. I don't know if any of you deal with that too. You're like, there's someone else who can do this job a lot better, or whatever thoughts that you make up in your mind. But he mentioned that buyers and sellers are not as judgmental as you think. So he had a stat with 67% of the people actually just choose the first agent that they come in contact with. So speed to lead, everyone.
One of my things that I liked, he did go over all the market numbers and said it would be hard, but he also said the big thing was charge the storm. So the change doesn't, everything and everyone is uncertain, but if we're clear about who we are and what we want, then uncertain times will not throw us off. So charge into it and be intentional about your actions, and it could still be a good year.
Does anybody know how many homes we sold here in Utah last year? Ballpark? Between 40 and 45,000 homes. So the question is, are there going to be enough home sales to encompass whatever your goals are? If your goals are selling 12 homes or 25 homes or 50 or 100 or 300 homes this year, does that fit within 30,000 market, right? Let's say we only sell 30,000 homes this year. Can you still achieve all of your goals knowing that there's going to be that many transactions happening in the state of Utah? There's plenty of opportunity out there. You just got to go chase it, right? So one thing I'm really curious about, this is something I've watched really great entrepreneurs do, which is that, and you guys have heard me say this saying, but education without implementation is entertainment, right? And so I'm curious about your guys' execution plan. How are you guys going to actually implement what you learned into your daily or weekly routine? What's your game plan?
Yeah, I think on the theme of things being more difficult and maybe us entering into a more skill-based market, I want to be more intentional about practicing my presentations.
This was probably the biggest point of passion I had in this entire family reunion. I've been waiting for this question. I've been stoked to answer it, to be honest. I went to a breakout session with Jay Papasan. It's called Give a Million. The whole point of it was charity and love and how we're real estate agents in the shelter industry. We're in the business to give people a home. And I know every person in this room can talk about homes and how beautiful they are and how great they are. So a big thing for me is I've been missing a why in my business. I've been missing a desire, to go crank out 8 hours of work. It's been something I've been having a hard time with. And I think I want to get a better why. So my specific implementation of what I'm doing for my business is I've committed with a shelter up in Salt Lake City, and I'm going to do 6 to 8 hours, depending on how tough it is, at a shelter and donating my time and eventually donating my money and maybe my leadership one day, just because I want it to be less about the money and less about me and more about helping people. And I'm going to heavily incorporate that strategy into my touches, my 36 touches, my opening lines, my dialogue, and really try to focus my business on helping people homeless, in need of food, in need of shelter, and that kind of thing. So that's a specific plan I have.
Thank you.
Okay, this was my Superman moment for implementation. I can't do it as fast as Superman.
Uh-oh, Greg. HR, are you in the house? There we go. Yes. That's awesome.
Have you been working out, Greg?
Even where's it like Gary? It's great.
I came away, this is what I came away with. You know, the number one source of leads is our SOI. And number two is open houses, which my partner is the best open house queen in the world. But it's the SOI, and that's right. We teach that open house ignite class. And that chart, which I think I'd seen before, I think maybe Shoni showed it to us. But when you hit this magic number, there is something incredible that happens. And if you look at the chart, you're going this way on your leads, and all of a sudden, shh. And this is based on real experience and real numbers. And so I came away deciding that I'm going to be a member of the 201 Club, and that my implementation is to fully populate my database, get all the information in there, and then start to use the tags that use them better, but fully implement my database on the command program and with all the tags and all the other new stuff that they showed us that Gary spent tens of millions of dollars on to implement. And so that is my implementation, is to fully be in the 201 Club.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg. We did not pay for that ad just now. That was genuine.
He didn't pay for the t-shirt either. Bought it.
I bought it.
Mine is to focus down on actually implementing the 36 touches so that this shift doesn't kick me off the game.
I'm the same. I don't have my CRM set up. I don't have command set up. So that's my commitment to, is to get in there and get, I'm going to hand input all of mine. And I'm on 75 contacts in there this week that I got, that I'm just getting them in there. Right. And I'm searching Facebook for birthdays. That's hard. Sometimes you have to read posts until someone says happy birthday. And then if there's a late one, you got to realize it was the day before. And I'm just saying there's a lot of digging.
We can
So
show you a shortcut for that.
yeah, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. But just to implement, and then for me, just to really be intentional in my relationships. Again, I just the 36 touch. Don't wait for running into them or a reason, get those cards out there, get those touches to the clients. I think it was one of the people in the class that said 80% of your business is from 20% of your leads. So there you have it.
That's awesome. Great.
That was another place I went to a couple of 201 classes, and that's again where they stress imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. And so you just got to start somewhere and it'll come.
So one more, like when I just find one person to put in there, just do one more, just do one more, just do one more and sit there and do it.
And then it turns into 75.
Yeah. One more red light for your eyes, one more red light for your face, one more red. I'm just kidding. Another
Maybe we should get into biggest takeaways.
biggest takeaway for Robin Warner was red light therapy. It's kind of embarrassing. Oh, did you just hear him? Did you do that?
I didn't do it.
All I did was walk towards the merchandise to buy a t-shirt. That's all I did. I just wanted a t-shirt, a shirt. And it went downhill from there. And I came home with red light for my eyes, red light for my face, and red light for my body. So my takeaway was hopefully wrinkles, my bank account, that's for sure. My bank account gone. Anyway, it was a big week moment. But I will tell you one big takeaway for me was, since I am new to this brokerage, one takeaway to me was getting to know the people in the brokerage. I had such a good time. I feel like when you come from a smaller brokerage, it's a little intimidating to walk in here, not know who to sit by, not know who to talk to. You just hear the numbers, you look at the numbers, you look at the production, and you just feel very small. And my big takeaway was spending time with really cool people and real conversations and how people really build their business and what they really do. And then I feel like I'm on track. And it's good to have those conversations with people and to spend the time with people right here. Because one takeaway for me is sit next to someone and ask them a question and ask them how they do it. A lot of these classes talk about learn what someone does and copy it. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but it's something that's already working for somebody, make it work for you. And there's a lot of rock stars in here. So get to know those people. Don't let it intimidate you. If you're new, don't let it intimidate you. You know, if you're trying to get your first sell and you know, they've got many, you use that to your advantage. You have a lot of knowledge and wealth right here. And we had a really good time.
Thank you.
Just like she said, one of the biggest takeaways, just sharing with all of you guys over at the family reunion. It was just fun sharing with everyone at the food table and getting to know everyone. And just like she said too, just coming here with full of all this professional, I felt so intimidated in the beginning, but I guess I can just say a pocket fill for Angie, because she's like the one that opened her arms for me in the beginning, and she still does, and I appreciate her so much. And let me see what I wrote down. Oh, another one. One of the MAPS coach said, when you love what you do, when you love what you're doing, it's not a job, so you do it forever. So it's just basically, if we love what we're doing as a realtors, we're just gonna do it forever. And this is a big career, and just focus down to get it done and get as much as we can out of it.
Does anybody know what Gary says he wants on his gravestone? Be written. Realtor.
Realtor.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so realtor, yeah. I would share what Robin and Bibiana have said, the collegiality, the enjoyment of just getting to know each other. I unfortunately, for 24 hours, caught a bug. There was something going on in Southern California, and I was out of it for a period of time. And so many of the people that we were there with, what can we do to help you? How are you? Can we bring you anything? That kind of a thing. And our dinners, it was just great to get to know everybody. The brokerage that Colleen and I came from, I keep getting phone calls from this guy that's a recruiter that just cannot believe that I were willing to spend the money to be in Keller Williams and all and whatnot. This guy just can't grasp it. He's having such a hard time. And I finally said, just stop calling me. Look, it's the culture, it's the education, it's just everything that's involved with being part of this group. It's worth the tuition.
My big three takeaways from family reunion. My biggest one is redefine and recommit to my why. And then with that said, Ed Milet also said he was the one for his generation. And I think I'm paraphrasing it. I probably won't get this perfect, but he said, the world will never have a thumb over me and my family for the rest of time. And I thought that was another cool thing that I can implement, making it less about myself and making it more about, my future family, my future kids, any people I can help, and recommitting to that and really trying to succeed for better reasons than myself. So.
All right, top three takeaways. One, meet the standards of the type of person you want to be. The second one is double the lead gen while deepening relationships. And number three is focus on not just what you're grateful for, but what you're proud of.
That's awesome. Great. Well, before we give them a round of applause, I do want to share their top quotes that they took away from family reunion, and then we'll wrap up. This was from Robin. Her big quote that she took away was, high achievers remove beliefs from their thinking that hold them back. And then the second one was, client experience doesn't start when they decide to use you to buy or sell their home. It starts when they come in contact with you, whether that's on social media or in person. Robin, do you want to speak to either one of those?
I mean, I think I talked about, well, the beliefs of high achievers, my family's always been really good support. I kind of come from the mindset like, no, I'm just a mom. So I'm just a mom helping some people sell some houses, and that's what I do. And so they'll always say, no, mom, you're not. Like, you're a real estate agent. You kill it. You this, you that. And they just kind of pep me up. They're young adults, and they support me in the things I do. And so I think my mindset would be to, if I wanted to then hit my next goal or become like many of you in here, and my mindset would be to think more along the lines like, no, I sell real estate. I can, and I can make my goals higher and higher. And although I love being a mom too, but and then the client experience is just always been very important to me. I'm just service oriented. I like making people happy. That's how I base my real estate. One story about the Do One More, we were fixing up this house. I had my husband come out. These clients moved to Virginia before they sold their house. Matter of fact, we couldn't even list it until we got them out of there. And so we cleaned it up, they cleaned it up, and the island needed some work. And my husband used to do custom cabinets. So I said, hey, can you come fix this? And then I noticed so he did, and I cleaned out the basement of all the boxes they left. And my family, my kids would say, why do you do this? You're the realist. Why do you do this? And I'm like, because it's a client experience. I want to make it easy. Moving's tough. There's a lot of emotions involved with moving and selling, and people get overwhelmed. I just want to make it easier. So there was one more light bulb up top in this ceiling in the front door. And I thought, we've got to have this light bulb changed. And we could reach the other ones. And maybe I overestimated myself, but I said, Sean, if you just let me on your shoulders, this is like the last thing I'll ask you to do. And please, I think we can reach it. He's like, we cannot reach it. I said, I really think I could reach it. One more light bulb, one more thing. And I stood up on the counter, which is so ridiculous because this is only 3 years ago, right? So I stood up on the counter, I got on his shoulders, and we're kind of giggling, and I can't reach it. So get back on the counter. And when I went to go jump off the counter, like he walked away and I went to go jump off the counter and my shirt got caught on the cabinet handle. And I was hanging there laughing so hard. And my husband was walking and turned around, not to come help me, but to literally take pictures and video me hanging on that cabinet door, just laughing so hard. And I thought, that's okay. I mean, happy moments, right? Laugh, laugh, laugh. But the client experience, to do that one more thing for them so that they refer you to the next person and they have a good experience. I just stand by that. I stand by that.
Great, thank you. So I'll breeze through these just for time so we can get you guys to lunch and your next appointments. But for Eli, it was create a lead generation model with giving and charity, and don't let change happen to you, but for you. And then Bibiana's was, you're not a leader until you can train someone else how to lead. Successful leaders create more leaders. When you love what you're doing, it's not just a job, so you do it forever. And Jake, I'm addicted to the expansion of my being.
This is just clarify, this is not the literal sense. I already know what that feels like. But on the other side of temporary pain is a different